give me skills and abilities, and the likelihood that I stay increases dramatically.
We don't want to work for something that we don't find a purpose in and we don't see any tangible goals.
I've been told before I'm just a barista. So if I try to step into a leadership role or go above and beyond in my barista position, I was never respected in that setting.
I want my own personal growth. I want to have things where I can grow, I can develop, so I can be better.
Most of the time I either went in for one shift and realized that it was still not organized and it's still going to be a pretty painful place to work, or I just didn't come back after the interview or accept the job offer.
And if you're really good at what you do and you have options, right? Why would you stay? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Now What podcast, episode 29. My name is Glenn Sharp. I am the president and CEO of Sharp Leadership Development. It's a beautiful day in Cincinnati. It rained this morning, but it's 75 degrees, and we are enjoying the heck out of this. So I hope where you are, you're experiencing the same. We're going to talk to a couple of Gen Zs and really get their perspective in regards to how they feel, how they like to communicate, an array of topics that we're going to cover. So I have my daughter, Paulina Sharp, here, and Caden Lowry. This episode is for all you guys who have told me I can't manage these guys. Right? So this is for you because this is proof these guys can absolutely be managed. They are no different than anyone else. And I'll prove that as we kind of progress through the episode. So let's get to it. Captain Abrashoff is somebody I met in a summit down in Tennessee. And he talks about the top 5 reasons why people do not re-enlist in the Navy. And it just so happens to align with the top 5 reasons why people leave their jobs. If you notice, the top reason in all the polls that I've seen hundreds and hundreds of polls with thousands of people, it's always the direct supervisor. It always has something to do with the manager. The interesting part, and one of the things I want to talk to Paulina and Caden about, is the new number 2 out there that at least I'm seeing in my classes, and that is career path. Right? The basic premise behind this is what I'm being told, and really what I want to talk to you guys about is train me, give me skills and abilities, and the likelihood that I stay increases dramatically. Thoughts on this?
I agree. I think a big part of it is, as a Gen Zer, being able to see the future and see a direct path of growth. Gen Z, we don't want to work for something that we don't find a purpose in and we don't see any tangible goals. So I think having a job where you have that clear evidence that you can go somewhere and that you are doing something meaningful. I think learning something where I am 100% positive that I'm going to be using it in my future career, and I know that I'm going to have that as something to rely on or be successful in this current job or in the future in any next.
Yeah, so a transferable skill. You can use that anywhere, whatever job. For example, interviewing. Right? If you become a manager, director, VP, whatever one day, you're going to have to interview someone. You better get good at it, correct?
Correct.
Right? What about you? What are your thoughts in regards to just career path, Paulina?
I've been told before I'm just a barista. So if I try to step into a leadership role or go above and beyond in my barista position, I was never respected in that setting, I guess. So it made me not want to continue.
And that's the interesting part about training, and what I'm trying to convince managers at all ages is, do you realize that respect takes many forms? Mm-hmm. When you train someone on how to do something, when you take the time to actually develop them, you're actually not only giving them that skill and ability, but you're respecting them. Of all the Gen Zs that I've interviewed, and I've interviewed hundreds, they told me the career path piece, they're not talking about succession planning. That they think succession planning is garbage. And what do I mean? For example, certain organizations have this 9 box on the upper right-hand corner. They develop a list of high potentials, people who are going to. But succession planning, right? There's a lot of luck involved, timing involved. Sometimes it's favoritism, sometimes even nepotism. I've coached people who are clearly someone's nephew. They have no business being in that position, but someone was related to them and they got them the job. Do you guys agree with that? Do you agree with that? You're not talking about, that 9 box. You're not talking about succession planning. You're talking about on the job skills training, continuous improvement, continuous development?
So I completely agree. I agree that I'd much rather have like on the day training or, daily training, things that I can personally see that I can use these somewhere else. I'm not just going to be using them here or learning how to use a skill here just so then one day I can maybe get up higher in the company or something like that. I feel like Gen Z, we're more independent, where we're more, I want my own personal growth. I want to have things where I can grow, I can develop, so I can be better for myself, whether that be at one company or if it's not the right fit, if I don't feel like I have enough opportunities, I can use the skills I learned from that company and take it to somewhere else to continue my career and continue growing.
The vast majority of employees make up their mind whether they're going to stay or leave an organization within the first 72 hours. Now, I found this statistic one time. I find it interesting. I don't know how the hell they came up with this or how they measured this. I just find the reaction of the audience very interesting when I tell them the statistic. It does not take very long for people to agree with me. So this is really about the first couple of days. Do you have your act together? Right? And how important that is. So my question for you guys, Pauline, I'll start with you. If you walk into an organization on the first day and they forgot you were coming, they don't have your training plan, they don't have any organization or anything like that, what is your first thoughts?
That it's not the job for me, pretty much. I've walked into plenty of jobs like this, mostly just entry-level positions, but either way, like I would walk in and they were all over the place, or I had to wait for my interview for up to an hour.
Yep.
And most of the time I either went in for one shift and realized that it was just like orientation, they're still not organized and it's still going to be a pretty painful place to work, or I just didn't come back after the interview or accept the job offer.
And that's the interesting part. When I talk to older managers, they think it was like 30 years ago, 20 years ago, where they'll stay, don't worry, they're just happy to have jobs. And my point to them is these guys have options. And if you're really good at what you do and you have options, right? Like, yeah, I mean, why would you stay?
I've definitely experienced that with my very first job. On my very first day, I went in and it was completely unorganized. I had no idea what I was doing. I was training like soccer classes, but I wasn't told what I was supposed to do. I wasn't told how many kids were going to be there. I didn't even know if I was working with anyone else. I had no direction, and I felt like I was just not being respected at all, like what Polina had mentioned earlier. Just felt like I knew within the hour that I wanted to get out of there as soon as the opportunity arose that I could leave that job and find somewhere else.
How long did you stay?
Well, I ended up staying for about 8 months, but I regret it.
You do?
Yeah, I
Okay.
wish I could have left earlier.
Yeah. Here's an interesting piece to this. All right. I ask classes all the time. And in the classes, you have anywhere from VPs all the way down to low-level managers. I'll say to them, I want you to rank your onboarding and new hire orientation, okay, program. Okay, just 0 to 100. 0, you're a dumpster fire. 100, you're best in class. First number that comes to mind, I say, and I go around the room. Imagine there's 50 people in the room. What do you think the average is in the room? Just take a stab at it.
80.
80?
I was thinking 80 as well.
Yep. Average is 50. That's how they view. One person said 5, and I go, 5 out of 10? He goes, no, 5. And I'm like, they know they're bad at this, and this is what this statistic is all about. And I'm like, you're bad at this. People will not stay, especially young guns, Gen Zs out there. Why wouldn't you improve? The second statistic that I want to kind of talk to you guys about, this is a really interesting one. If you inject socialization into both the onboarding and new hire orientation process, it decreases the likelihood of turnover by up to 66%. So what do they mean by socialization? And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. Imagine if right after new hire orientation, your manager met you, all right, and brought you up to your desk or brought you up to your area and introduced you like to everyone. But then they introduce you to your informal mentor, someone who you can ask informal questions to, not them, someone else that will show you around, invite you to happy hour, make sure that they have talks with you and things like that. That's what they mean by socialization. That's just one of many ways to socialize a new hire. I'm wondering what your guys' thoughts are in regards to the socialization piece. Like, is it really that important to you guys to become socialized and to be comfortable in an organization? How much does it mean to you guys?
I feel like I've only worked a couple of jobs where I've immediately, honestly, maybe one job that I've immediately felt comfortable. And that was probably the one I stayed at the longest. But I feel like when I go in and I don't really know who I'm supposed to be asking questions to or talking to or just like even having conversation with, otherwise I'm just kind of looking around confused, wondering, one, the answer to my question, and kind of maybe I'll try to figure it out myself and then it's wrong, or, you know.
Yeah. Like Caden, one of the things that I kind of argue with people about is I want that informal mentor. Like if I am going to assign someone to be trained, if you worked for me and I'm your boss, okay? If there's a choice between me and one of your peers training me, I pick one of your peers every single time. Now, the psychology behind that is interesting because as your boss, the likelihood that you're vulnerable with me and you ask me questions and say I'm confused, I don't know what you're talking about, is a lot less likely. But with a peer, you might look at them and be like, "Is this place weird, man? Like, did you feel this way when you first arrived?" And that's why.
I completely agree. I have had a lot of experience where I have a question, I'm new, I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't want to ask my main boss because it feels like, one, I don't want to look dumb. I don't want to look uninformed and inadequate for my job. And two, it's just intimidating. And I don't know, something about like your boss, the way he sees you. And every single time, without fail, I would ask the person I was working with before. And even if you didn't know the answer, I probably would just go without finding out an answer.
Right.
Because I'd rather that than go ask my boss a simple question.
The number one comment I get when I ask people, why won't you ask me questions like that, the informal questions? The number one comment is, because I think you're going to think you made a mistake in hiring me if I ask you too many questions. And for me, that's so dumb, you know what I mean? But I get it because it's not dumb. It's like, why would I take that risk, right? And in an honest moment, thinking back when I was young, I probably wouldn't have asked my boss a vulnerable question. Why would I do that, right? If I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to hide it, fake it till you make it kind of stuff, right? Or at least, do the best I can to fake it. So I get it, but it's just interesting, and I want people to understand the psychology behind that. All right, well, that's it for today. Thank you to both of you, Kate and Paulina. That was terrific. Hopefully, you guys gained a little bit of insight into kind of the mind of the Gen Zs, and you understand I'm not full of it, and some of the stuff that I've been telling you guys about is indeed true. So I really appreciate you guys' time. Thank you very much. I know you guys are both busy. Guys, a couple of things. If you've been part of the podcast, you know that the name of this podcast, Now What, follows suit with my book, Now What. This is the journey of me and Johnny. Johnny is a brand new manager of people, and it's a 4-month journey between him and I in regards to getting him on the same playing field as the rest of his peers. He was an amazing mechanic, and because he was such a great mechanic, they made him manager of mechanics. Now what, right? He doesn't know how to be a manager. So if you have a manager and they are struggling, or if you have an aspiring manager and you want to get them up to speed and really get them prepped to become a manager, this would be a great book to really get them going. So I encourage you to pick it up. You can pick it up on Amazon. It's available obviously on Kindle and paperback, like that. It's in my hand. So take a look at it. I wish you guys all the best of luck in your leadership and management journey. Stay tuned for episode 30. It's going to be part 2 of my time with Caden and Paulina, where we're going to discuss communication and the way people think. And really, we're going to get into changing the way you think. And we'll talk a little bit with them about the results cone and culture and what's important to them. So stay tuned for that. Again, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you in episode 30.